Hi everyone, it's Michelle, or as most of you know me, Gyllenhaal, and this is a video about my Sebastian Stan obsession. And basically, it's just going to be me talking about why I like him as much as I do. So, the reason why I decided to do this and ask if anyone had any questions is because anonymous people are either like, oh, why do you like him so much? Because either they don't like him or they don't know who he is, or they're telling me that I've changed their mind about him because like they didn't know who he was before, they didn't like him very much, and I changed their mind somehow. So yeah, that's why I decided to do this. And the first question I got, or message, was from an anonymous person, and they said, I know you probably already thought of this, but why are you so obsessed with Sebastian? Where did you first see him, and what got you into him? Basically, it goes back to 2007 when I saw him on Gossip Girl. He played Carter Bazin, and basically I didn't really care for him at the time because everybody on that cast is attractive, and I was like, oh, he's just another pretty extra, and so he didn't really like stick to my memory because like I couldn't decide whether or not I liked his character very much, and I didn't stick around for all of Gossip Girl. Like, I stopped watching after season 2, so I didn't really care for him then. But I saw The Covenant pretty much around that same time, because I have a habit of watching movies on TV, and that happened to be on. And I saw that Chase Crawford was on the cast list, and I remembered him playing Nate on Gossip Girl. And then I saw Sebastian Stan's name, and I was like, oh, 2 Gossip Girl guys, I think I'm gonna watch this. And then they also had Taylor Kitsch from Friday Night Lights. So that movie was horrible, but it was one of those movies where it's like bad but kind of good in a way, just because like the whole cast was really attractive, and Sebastian stuck out to me then because his character stuck out. Like, in the whole film, his character seemed like the only one that actually had a personality and wasn't so like generic, and I don't know, he just like, I ended up paying attention to him more than anybody else because he like just, everybody else seemed kind of boring. So I know a lot of people, when that movie first came out, they said he was like, Sebastian was overacting and that's why he stuck out, but I didn't really see it that way when I watched it. I thought that like his character was kind of weird and like overacted about things, and that's why Sebastian may have come off that way, but I didn't see his acting as overacting. So, but even after that movie, I didn't care for him too much. But then I saw him in Black Swan a few years later. He played Andrew in one of the theaters, and I was like, oh, I recognize him. But then I forgot about him again, and a couple months ago, I just, like, randomly remembered him for some reason, and I started watching Kings, and that's, because I, like, looked into what he had done, and I, like, wanted to see more, and I wanted to see if he was actually a good actor and someone worth, like, being interested in as a celebrity. So I watched Kings, and Sebastian plays a character whose name is Jack Benjamin, and he's the prince, because the show Kings is basically like what the United States would be like if it was a monarchy, and Sebastian plays him really, really well, to be honest. He's someone that has to put on a good public image, and has to, you know, he can't really be himself, and he's like forced to always be like the perfect son. And the thing is, he's actually gay, but he has to hide that, so he like puts out the image that he's a playboy, and like goes to clubs with a lot of girls, hooks up with a lot of girls, makes sure that those are the images that get put out in the tabloids, but at the same time he's got a boyfriend undercover that he kind of like, his mom doesn't know, but his dad finds out, and his dad, who's the king, kind of uses it against him later. And basically, without spoiling the show, it's basically, you could call it Jack Benjamin crying, because everybody is a butthead, because his character makes all these sacrifices and like is willing to risk his reputation for pretty much anyone in his family, and they just shit all over him. Like, nobody cares, and it sucks, but he plays them really well. So then I watched The Architect, which is a terrible movie, but Sebastian plays Martin, who is a character struggling with whether or not he's gay, like whether liking guys and being with guys is what he wants. And so the only good part in that movie is when he gets kissed by the other guy who's trying to convince him, whose name is Sean, because Sebastian shows how conflicted his character was, and was like, well, do I want this or do I not want this? And his expression just showed that perfectly, and that's like the only thing worth it in that movie. So yeah, after that I watched The Education of Charlie Banks, which is Jesse Eisenberg is in that movie, and Sebastian plays Leo, who's like the rich guy who just does whatever he can to have a good time, and kind of overdresses and dresses crazily, but at the same time you can tell they're brand name clothes, kind of like Chuck Bass on Gossip Girl. And I really liked him in that because he provided a lot of comic relief, so I appreciated that. He was a really adorable character, and I liked that Sebastian had like golden hair or whatever shade that was. His hair was dyed a weird color. But yeah, then after that I saw him in Captain America, where he played Bucky Barnes, and I loved him as Bucky because I feel like he looks like how I pictured Bucky, and I really liked how he portrayed him, and I'm hoping that they bring Bucky back, because Sebastian is actually signed on for 6 Marvel films. Whether or not he does 6 is up to them, but he signed a contract for 6. And also in the comics, from what my brothers told me, Bucky comes back and actually takes the role as Captain America when Steve dies, which I don't think they're going to do that in the movies, because Chris Evans is really well cast, and even though Sebastian had originally tried out for Captain America, I'm glad it was Chris that got it, because I think he does Steve really, really well. But putting all that aside, I just hope that they bring Bucky back, especially because if Bucky had his own movie, that would be a chance for Sebastian to actually play a lead role, because he kind of shies away from lead roles because he doesn't like it when all the pressure's on him for like a big film, which is why I think he didn't really mind giving up the role of Captain America to Chris, when, like, I think he said around the time when he was auditioning, he found out Chris had already accepted, and that's when he kind of accepted the role as Bucky, which I'm pretty sure he liked a lot more than he would have liked being Steve. But hopefully he doesn't mind being a main character, especially when it comes to being Bucky. And because I heard that the director of Captain America: The First Avenger really liked working with Sebastian, and is thinking about doing a separate movie for Bucky and also a separate movie for Natasha. So hopefully we get Bucky back. But moving on in the Sebastian area, I also started watching him in Once Upon a Time. I love him as Jefferson. I love Jefferson to death, how he plays. He's the twisted, tortured soul. He's the one that remembers both realities, the fairy tale one and the real one. And he basically, he sees his daughter in the real world, and she's living with another family. And the whole show is just him trying to get her back, because obviously you can't go up and be like, oh, hey, you're my daughter, please come live with me, because as far as she knows, she's been with that other family her whole life, so she has no idea who he is. So, yeah, I just love Jefferson very, very much, and I have a lot of Jefferson feelings. But, let's see. Sebastian is also going to be in a new show called Political Animals on USA, where he plays T.J. Hammond, which I think is like the reincarnation of Jack Benjamin, because it's another character that's in the spotlight that has a projected image but is also gay, and I don't know if they're going to make him hide it in that or not, but it just kind of reminded me of that. So I'm really, really excited for that show. And also, ever since it's ended, Sebastian has been working out a lot, which kind of makes me think that Bucky really is coming back, because you can tell he's got like the fitter physique, and Sebastian doesn't really need that for any of his other roles, so that's why I'm still assuming that we're going to get Bucky back. But yeah, anyway, Sebastian's also going to be in The Apparition with Tom Felton and Ashley Greene. And I'm probably going to see it, even though I'm not a big fan of scary movies, but it's Sebastian, and, yeah, the trailer makes it look like he doesn't have any lines, which I'm sure isn't true, but, and they also, like, did his hair weird, like, it's, like, straightened, so I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm still probably going to see the movie. But yeah, that kind of, moves on to my next point, which is kind of the rumor control, just the rumors that I've picked up about Sebastian and what I've heard. Basically the main rumor that he has with him, because obviously he's not that famous and not a lot of people know who he is, so therefore they don't really care, but when he was dating Diana Agron, people did care because they cared about Diana, because, you know, she's from Glee. So I remember during that time Sebastian was getting a lot of hate for being with her, simply because people didn't think that he was good enough for Diana, and they wanted Diana to be with Lea Michele, so therefore that made Sebastian undeserving and ugly and rude and untalented, which of course I disagree with all of those, but still, I really don't think that Sebastian deserved that hate, because there's like a few interviews where it's literally just hate against him from people that want Diana to be with Lea Michele, and it's just ridiculous. And I think as long as Diana and Lea Michele and Sebastian are happy with whoever they're with, then that's what matters, because honestly whoever they're with is not any of our business, and as long as they're happy, because they're still people. Like, we can't just be like, oh, I want you to, we can, you know, want them to be with other people, but to the point where we're hating on people we don't even know, because think about it, we really don't know them. It's just stupid. Like, just pisses me off. But also, that brings up the other rumor where people are trying to figure out his sexuality, like whether or not he's gay or straight. Like, they'll be like, oh, he went to a gay bar once, but hello, that doesn't mean that he's gay. Like, you literally did not prove anything by saying that he went to a gay bar once. And there's also like people that are like, well, he plays gay characters a lot. Well, that doesn't mean he's gay. That's called acting. And honestly, whether he's gay or not really doesn't matter, because once again, that's something that's his business. And yeah, it really wouldn't matter to me whether or not he was gay, because that doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't mean anything. And oh yes, the other rumors are whether or not he's single. And as of yesterday, there's rumors circulating that he's with Jennifer Morrison, because they were like hanging out somewhere or whatever, and there's like paparazzi pictures. And I'd be really happy if they were together, because I like Jennifer a lot from just what I've seen in like interviews and her in Once Upon a Time and on House. So yeah, if they're dating, I think they'd be a really cute couple, and I hope they're both really happy. But yeah, I don't know for sure. And let's see. Another thing is like I think there was talk about a fake Twitter account that was claiming to be Sebastian, but as far as I know, Sebastian really doesn't like social media sites. Like, he's stayed away from Twitter, stayed away from Facebook, like anything of that nature. He's kind of like, he just stays away from stuff like that in general. Like, he doesn't even like going to big celebrity events, it seems. He's like just never in the spotlight, and I kind of feel like he doesn't think he has fans, but he does. And yeah, I'm kind of glad that he's that way about social media sites, though. It's kind of nice. Like, I think it's alright when celebrities have a Twitter, and I definitely follow celeb Twitters and I like to keep up with them, but it's also a way for people to like spam the crap out of you, and there's a lot of creepy people on the internet, so I'm kind of glad that he stays away. Oh yeah, going back to the other messages, an anonymous person asked me how I would rate his eyebrows in terms of their sexiness, and to be honest, in terms of the rest of his face, I don't like his eyebrows as much as like all the other parts of his face, because I don't know, they're not anything special to me. Like, they're just kind of there. But yeah, I really like everything else about his face. Like, not that his eyebrows are bad, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably say it's an 8. So yeah, and let's see. Dr. Leto said, can you depict the exact moment that you fell in love with Sebastian? And it would definitely be probably when he was Bucky in Captain America, because that was just when I was like, oh, I really, really love you, and you're perfect, and yeah. And then Andrew Van Garden, who's Carolyn, she said, what do you think of his chin? Because Carolyn loves his chin. I've made her love his chin somehow. And I like his chin, especially because it's like, for me, the main identifier of like his physique. Because like in his Law and Order episode back in the day, which is like I think the first thing he ever did, he's got like more baby fat like on his face and his physique. But when he gets into roles that are like Bucky Barnes, like, wow, super chiseled jawline and like super chiseled body. So like that's how kind of how I define whether or not Bucky's gonna come back, because there's like rumors of him working out and boxing, and I don't think he needs that for any other role as far as I know. And I've noticed the not better, because he's always hot, but the different physique at the Political Animals premiere, based on when he was actually in Political Animals. He definitely looks more toned, so really hope Bucky's coming back. But yeah, and I think she asked me one more thing. She said, what if we found out that Sebastian played Sean Hunter the whole time and not Ryder Strong? How does this make me feel? I don't really know, because I can't really picture Sebastian playing Sean Hunter. I mean, I don't know, because there's like, going off of how I said, I don't really think he'd be a good Steve Rogers. I don't think he'd be a good Sean Hunter. I really, really like him, but there's roles that definitely belong to other people because they do them so well. And not that Sebastian would be bad, I just don't see him as that role. And I don't really know how to end this, but Sebastian is really awesome, and I love him a lot, and I really hope you all don't hate me for talking about him so much. And